We're ready. We'll go with it. All right, we'll give everyone one more minute there and then we'll get started. We'll get started. First of all, thank you for coming to my presentation. Like I said so here earlier, I was afraid I was going to be presenting to an empty room, so thank you. Can everyone hear me in the back? I don't ever sit still or stand still, so I'm going to be pacing here on the side. Everyone in the back can hear me though? Awesome. I don't like standing behind the microphone. Thank you for coming this morning. Before we get started, I need to prove to my wife that people actually came. So can I take a picture with everyone real fast? Okay, all right, good. All right. So here. All right, everyone smile. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. All right, now that we got that out of the way. So I today am going to present about 20 or so Google resources, and then I linked it to a Pittsburgh landmark. My family currently lives in the city. My parents actually have an apartment in the Strip District not too far away. I grew up in the South Hills. I currently don't live here in the city, but Pittsburgh I do consider home. So there's me. There's my beautiful family. Why we teach, right? For the kids, for your own, and for others. They're all really your kids, right? So that's my beautiful wife and my 3 daughters. The littlest one is here. She's been roaming around with my wife, so if you say hello, her name is Sophia. Very friendly. Currently, I am teaching technology at Clarion Limestone Elementary School. I teach K to 6. So I teach everything from the basics of learning how to use the mouse all the way up to 3D printing, programming, and robotics. So I run the gamut. In that job, I also work kind of as an instructional coach. So whenever there's something going on in the district that they need help with, integrating technology into the classroom or buying new devices, I kind of step in there as well. We're currently implementing new mobile makerspaces, so I'm really involved in that right now. So Clarion Limestone is a very small district. If you go up 79 and across 80, it's about an hour and 30, hour 45 minutes away. Very small. We have about 1,000 kids in the entire district. Very small, 2 buildings. So kind of give you an idea where I'm coming from. So today I want to show you some amazing Google resources. Some of these you may have seen before, but the goal of my presentation is twofold. The first part is to expose you to and show you these amazing resources, but I also, if you've never been to the city before, I want to teach you a little bit about the city of Pittsburgh. So let's get rolling. So the first one that I have for you is Google Sky. Anyone ever heard of Google Sky? Oh, I love Google Sky. Constellations, you name it, it's all there. Solar systems. Oh, quick. Every slide is going to look very similar. So on the left, we have the Pittsburgh, oh, I'm in the way. On the left, we have the Pittsburgh landmark, something of interest. In the middle, we have the neighborhood that it fits in. So everything is a different landmark, or a different neighborhood. And then here on the side, we have a couple pictures, some pictures that I use to explain the resource, and then the link at the top. Do not stress yourself writing everything down. I will share a link at the end of the presentation for you. There's a QR code you can scan, or there's a bit link that you can use. I just don't put it at the beginning because people take it and leave. So you're stuck with me, sorry. But it is a link to the presentation so that you don't have to stress. Just sit, relax, ask questions. Hopefully this is pretty informal. So if you have something you want to add or some questions, please let me know. So the first one again is Google Sky, mapping constellations, the solar system, and I linked the sky to Bicycle Heaven Museum. Anyone ever been there? Love it. Amazing. It is considered the world's largest bicycle museum and shop, and they have one of my favorite bikes of all time. Anyone recognize that? What is it? Pee Wee Herman. There's only, I think, 100 or so made, and they have like 70 of them. It's ridiculous. So, if you want to go check them out, not too far away. All right, next. I'm going to also try to get through pretty quick, so if you have questions at the end, you're more than welcome to ask. And I know it's almost lunchtime, so you want to get out and eat. The next one is KDKA Radio linked with Google News Archive. Anyone ever heard of Google News Archive? Google News Archive is an archive of newspapers. And you can actually search newspapers based on topic, based on city, based on year. And here are just two that I found. These are the Post-Gazette from the 1860s and the 1870s. Wonderful for primary sources. If you want your kids to be able to read something in the moment, right here. Okay? I also did some other important events when JFK was assassinated and then when declared war at Pearl Harbor. Okay? Link that with News Radio KDKA, which is considered by some to be the first commercial broadcast in 1920, founded by this guy right here, Harry Davis. Okay. Any questions? Good? Everyone can still hear me? All right, let's keep going. The next one is Google Maps Transit. Anyone ever use Google Maps Transit? Just a component of Google Maps. But now they've added this functionality where you can create a trip using only mass transit. So if you want to go here in the city, you can go by T. If you want to do by the bus, whatever you like. And then you can also search by different cities as well, whatever you like. And I link that with the Grand Concourse restaurant. Everyone been to the Grand Concourse? Station Square? Yep. Wonderful seafood restaurant. Do you know what it was before that? Anyone know what it was before it became this seafood restaurant? Train station. So in the late 1890s until about 1960s or so, it was the site of the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Railroad Station. Okay, so linking the transit to the train station, which if you go to Grand Concourse, amazing. Try to go on Sunday though, because they do a seafood buffet for brunch. Yes. I'm fat, I love food. Self-deprecating, right? Next, Perry North with the Allegheny Observatory. Anyone ever been there? They do private tours if you want to go see it. It is now owned by the University of Pittsburgh. They do a lot of research there with Pitt students. However, I linked that with Google Moon. Anyone ever use Google Moon? Yes. I love when I see no's. That means I'm teaching you something new. So Google Moon is exactly what it sounds like. Is you can look at maps of different parts of the moon. You can also see where different space explorations happen, so you can map it based on whatever Apollo mission you want. And then if you click on each one, they'll give you a little blurb, little piece of information about what happened on that trip. And also topography as well. So next, I have Randyland. Have you ever heard of Randyland? Randyland is considered to be the most colorful public art landmark in the United States. It was created in about 1995 by a guy named Randy Gilson. It's very close on the Mexican War streets, not too far away from here. I would highly recommend going. It's amazing. Everything always changes as well. But I linked that with Google Doodles. So did you know that there's a site dedicated to cataloging all of the doodles that Google creates? Not only can you see them, but you can also search them. So if you come down here, well, somewhere on the website there's a search bar. So if you want to search for something based on a certain historical event, you can see that, you can search there and find. Also great when you are doing people, doing biographies, so there's always little blurbs there that you can search for as well. They always do the featured ones at the top, the newest, and then they just keep cataloging as you go down the website. Okay, so basically every Google Doodle that's ever been created is there for you to search and there for you to use. Next is the National Aviary. Anyone ever been to the National Aviary? Yes. So it's considered, not considered, but it is America's only independent nonprofit zoo dedicated to birds. And I linked this with Search Education. They do a lot of educational resources. So I linked this with Search. Anyone ever use Search Education? Anyone ever trying to teach your kids how to best find information using Google and not use Wikipedia? These are templates and lessons that are already created for you that will teach people the basics of how to search in Google to find your information. So searching tricks, so here's the best, this is the beginner, and then they work by color. Power searching, pre-made lessons already, keywords, all those Google search tricks, the quotations and the pluses and all that, it's all here. Already pre-made. Send it out to your kids in Google Classroom, whatever you like. Great way to teach the kids how to get the most information for their searches and getting credible sources as well. Any questions? You're doing okay then. The next Google resource is the Google Science Journal. I never used Google Science Journal. Oh, I found this last year from P&C. Absolutely amazing. Google Science Journal is a website dedicated exactly to that, science. And it's science using the device you already have. So it's using the sensors on your tablet, using the sensors on your phone, and they have pre-made lessons here for you, free activities, and experiments that you can do directly with the device in hand. Okay, so you can use your sensors on your phone to measure sound, you can use it for light sensitivity, there's so many different pieces. But getting with your motion as well, and they're pretty short. They're chunked in about 15 to 20 minutes. I think that's a bit ambitious with 15 minutes, but you can easily get it done in a half hour. Okay, so wonderful for all of the students that maybe. Did anyone have their bring their own device school? BYOD. I'm going to be thinking fast. But this was big whenever that happened, just because people were bringing in all their own stuff, and then you can use your own device to run all of these science experiments. Linked with the Carnegie Science Center, amazing, especially the other building beside it, which is the Sportsworks. So it's, and they have a submarine, which I love to go onto. Thank you. Amazing. And also, did you know that as an educator, we have free admission to that? All the Carnegie museums, yep. Yep. So, free admission if you want to test it out tonight after you. I don't know when it closes. Sorry. Might have to Google that one. Next is experiments with Google. Anyone ever heard of experiments with Google? So this is a website dedicated to things that people have created on Google with code. Currently, there are over about 1,500 or so, and everything from Google Arts and Cultures to AR to creatability, gaining accessibility for kids. This is just some examples. One of them is using your webcam to make music. So as you wave your hand in front of the webcam, it changes the sound. And anyone ever use Google's Music Creator, Chrome Lab Music Creator? So we create our own music, we download it, and then we mix it in Audacity, but this is a great website to use. This is on Google Experiments as well. I matched that with Penn Brewery. I've never been to Penn Brewery. I have a couple beer in here, I'm sorry, I probably can handle it with adults. So Penn Brewery is considered one of the first craft breweries in Pittsburgh, founded in 1986. Started with the basics and have experimented from there, and now they have lots and lots. Great food too. Pretty close if you want to go check it out. Any questions so far? So far, so good. Okay. Next, I have connected churches in St. Anthony's Chapel. St. Anthony's Chapel is considered to be, or not considered, but has the largest collection of relics outside of the Vatican. That was pretty interesting. And I linked this to the Connected Churches movement. Has anyone ever heard of the Connected Church movement with Google? So Google believes that the heart of every community, at least this is what they say, the heart of every community is a church. So what they're trying to do is use the church as a way to push out education. So how could you use this in your classroom? Right here. They already have pre-made modules for you. So if you want to, great for professional development. I do a lot of professional development with my teachers. And I always get questions of, how do I make a Google form? What do I use it for? How do I make a Google Sheets? Why would I ever use Google Slides? How do I access something in my Google Drive? 9 times out of 10, I'll just copy a link here and send it to them, and then I'll follow up a day or two later and say, hey, did that answer all of your questions? If not, then we work together and figure out what we need to get done. Wonderful for professional development. It's already done. Work smarter, not harder. Don't recreate the wheel. There's so many resources out there, so use what's available to you. Next one is Google Mars. So this is kind of a branch off of Google Sky. Anyone ever use Google Mars? Okay, so you can look at all the different parts of Mars, all the different craters, all the different spacecrafts, all of that kind of stuff. And I linked that with the Church Brewworks. Anyone ever heard of the Church Brewworks? Love the Church Brewworks. So it was a former church that they converted into a brewery. But I linked it with Google Mars because of what they did in 2016 for National Asteroid Day. They created a beer brewed with an asteroid. They used the heat from that to make their own brew. So, interesting facts. Very close, it's in Lawrenceville. Good food there as well. So, come on in. Next one is the zoo. Anyone ever, and linked with Zygote Body. Anyone ever heard of Zygote Body? Not created by Google, but recently acquired as part of Google. So what you can do is if you go to this website, you can literally take the human body and then you can break it down based on the systems of the body. You can look at the muscle, you can look at every different part, and then there's a little slider on the side. When you pull it up and down, you can slowly, how do I say this? So you can go from the skeletal system all the way out. Is that a good way of saying it? Mm-hmm. And then I just linked that with the zoo in Highland Park. So. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Am I okay? All right. Like I said, I want to try to get you guys to lunch. I know how crazy sometimes things get. Maybe with the lunch here now it'll be different. But next is Invention Land. Anyone ever heard of Invention Land? I love Invention Land. Invention Land prides itself on being a think tank and the world's largest invention factory. And they do a lot of wonderful education tours as well. So actually these are the office spaces of 2 of the people that work at Invention Land. So you can go, you can take a tour. I know my district did. And they pride themselves on creative thinking, collaborative thinking, thinking outside the box, and creating this whole culture of community, of creating and inventing. Yes?
They'll also build classrooms in your district, because at my daughter's, when she was in elementary school, they build classrooms into it.
Yep. So they do a lot in education. Link that to Google Patents. Do you know you can search patents on Google? So you can actually search if you're looking for something in particular, something special. I think I searched the word technology when I did this one. So you can search and get full, is it considered a document if it's a patent? I don't know. You get the full resource here. You can also do search based on companies and individuals. So you can see who has filed the most patents, what company has, how many they have, what they have, under what categories. And then this is the timeline of when certain things have been filed as patents. So if there's a big push at one point for fuel cell technology, you'll see a big change in the graph. So great for data. So easy to use in your classroom. Numbers are already there. Use that for real world numbers. Next is Google Arts and Culture. This one's a pretty big one. Everyone's seen Google Arts and Culture. Love Google Arts and Culture. I unfortunately had made the mistake of not previewing one day, so preview first. I think it was the history of the bra when I was doing an activity with an elementary school class, so just be careful. So the nice thing about Google Arts and Culture is that you can look inside famous museums and also view paintings, okay, or sculptures, whatever you like. You can then explore nearby, so if you live in the city of Pittsburgh, you live in Philadelphia, you want to explore nearby museums, virtual field trips right here. I know my district doesn't really do field trips anymore. We do maybe one a year. This is a great way, and I'll show you another resource later too for virtual field trips. A great way that you can get kids to see things without actually having to leave your classroom. The other part that I really like here, so if you're a social studies teacher and you're studying a certain time period, you can break it down based on drew a blank there, collections and themes, and also here by movements. Okay, so, or if you're an art teacher and you want to talk about only certain mediums, if you only want to talk about, you name it, I don't know, I'm not an art teacher, I teach tech, sorry. You can break it all down here. And I really like this part too, is that this is what I should have done instead of just sending them to Arts and Culture. You can create your own favorites and your own galleries, and then you can share that out to the kids. So instead you can populate your own group of whatever you want and then share it out, as opposed to letting them just randomly search on Google Arts and Culture. Link that to the Frick Pittsburgh, which is on the Frick estate. Henry Clay Frick, and that's his wife, and it is an amazing museum, art museum, and gardens. So you can go and walk around and tour. Next, CS First. Big here, coding. Anyone use CS First resources? So pre-made resources to teach computer programming. The really cool thing is this part too. They give you a free classroom kit. Anyone ever sign away for this? So what they do is you log in, you create, everything here is free, by the way. You don't have to pay for anything. But what they do is they send you a box, kind of like a digital passport almost, and as you go through their curriculum, you can hand them this piece and they can stamp or sticker or whatever you want, and you keep track of what the kids are doing. But the part that I really like too is that there's also these pre-made lessons, and then they also link it to content area. So I know the big push is coding, and it's not just coding, but it's coding inside content. It's coding in ELA, it's coding in math, it's coding in science. I mean, we all know the benefits of teaching kids how to program, but we just run out of time in the day. I'm lucky in that since I teach technology, I get to spend a class period with the kids just teaching them how to code, just teaching them how to program robots. You might not have that flexibility like I do. So these are some lessons that are already created, and then if you're looking for something in a certain content area, it's there. Also, if you have ESL students, they also do it in other languages as well. English as a second language. And I link this with the Center for Post-Natural History. Anyone ever heard or been there? I see a lot of no's. So the Center for Post-Natural History is a collection of things that have been altered by humans in some way. Gone in and changed the genetic code, done something completely bizarre. This is an example of that. This is actually a chicken that they put some different genes in to get it to grow feathers that look completely bizarre. So how do I link them together? Because code is human-made, and you always have to go in and edit and change, so I link that with the post-natural history. So it's also it's not just a museum, but it's also a storefront. So if you go in, you can buy sorts of things, and walk in the back, you can see all of it. It's quite an experience. I would recommend if you have some time, go to Garfield and check that out. Anyone ever use My Maps? Love My Maps. Yeah. So you can create your own map based on any content you want. So I think I mapped Civil War battles, maybe. But the nice thing here is that you can upload an Excel file, any sort of file you want, and then you pick where you want the point to go based on the heading. And then you can then put here, you can tell it what you want for each point. You can also change the icons, change the colors, and then share it out with your kids. And then you give them access, and they can add their own points on the spreadsheet, and then you just update the graph. I did this as an activity when we were doing, we were learning about the Electoral College. We were learning about voting. So what I did is that I color-coded each dot for, I just did the capital city for every state. But then what I did is I changed the color based on how they voted in the last election. So a great visual for the kids to be able to see. Super easy to create. Save them in your drive. Everything's there for you. Linked it with Uber. Did you know Pittsburgh is considered to be the first city to allow autonomous cars on the road? Peduto did that in 2016. So, interesting maps, Uber. Yes?
On the My Maps thing, can you search ones that other people made?
This one is just you, but I'm going to give you an option to be able to search things that other people have made here in a moment. Okay? Actually, I have another resource that I can show you later that people can look at, other maps as well. Strip District and Tour Creator. Love. Anyone ever been to the Strip District? Close to my heart. Of course. Absolutely love the Strip District. It has been transformed into an area of restaurants, specialty shops. It's how many blocks from here? Like 3, 4, not even. Just keep walking that way toward, you'll find it. But I linked that with Google Tour Creator. Anyone ever made their own Google Tour? Yes. Love Google Tour Creator. This is for creating your own, and then I'll get to you for the next part. So you can use Google Maps, search for what you want. You put in the picture of whatever you want. You name it. This is who took the picture, so you can credit whoever took the picture. And then the part that I really like here is that you can add points of interest. So as your kids are looking at that screen, you can have them focus on that first picture, whatever you want. And then as they move their mouse or they use their Google Cardboard, or Google Cardboard's gone now, whatever you decide to use, they can look to that point and they can put their mouse over the top, and then it's going to open up and you can type in a little blurb, whatever kind of information you want. Super interactive. If you don't want to type anything in, you can also insert more pictures to go with it, or you can let the kids narrate. So you can, all the Chromebooks have microphones, you can have them record their own tour using Google Tour Creator. Once you're done, then you have this little piece here, then you can either share the link, or it goes to the next resource that I'm going to show you, Google Poly. I've never used Google Poly. Yeah. Okay, so that's how you're going to be able to search whatever people have created, which is this one, Google Poly. Google Poly is a catalog website full of user-created content, specifically 3D things, including tours. So if you want to see what people have already created, I just searched the word Pittsburgh, and these are the things that came up. And then if you look here, there's 5, 20, 4 different scenes. So those are tours that people have created. They search for the piece they want, and then it takes you directly to that spot. Again, wonderful. Poly and My Map, or Poly and, I'm drawing a blank, Tour Creator are wonderful for those virtual field trips. We've had kids go to Antarctica, we've had kids go to major cities, to New York City, yes?
So as a Spanish teacher, so if I've been abroad, I mean, I did some, I did Street View, I don't know if you're going to talk about Street View, but created a 360 picture and have incorporated into
right
this.
here.
So if, you know, teacher goes abroad and takes those pictures, you don't have to just go to Google.
Nope, you can upload your own images as well. I just use Google because I'm not a world traveler. Sorry, I live in Clarion. We're about.
But in schools there are teachers.
Exactly. Yes.
Do that.
So I just use Google Maps, which so this is the street view picture of the Google Map. So here, I'll go back a sec. So when you search for wherever you want, ooh, there's a pixel there. You can search your piece here, and then you take your little orange guy and drag them on, and that's how you can personalize what the picture looks like. And then you can lock the kids on that scene, because normally, at least in my experience, if I want the kids to go on a tour of the White House, well, they'll be on the White House for the first 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden they're somewhere completely different in Washington, D.C. There's some value to exploring and seeing what's there, but if you're really focused on something specific, this is where you can lock it down. So when you use Google Poly, just be careful when you look at these that people have posted, that they don't allow kids, if you don't want them to, don't allow them to go up above or go outside that original picture. Yes?
How are these different than, like in Google Earth, they have those pre-made, like navigator?
Very similar. These are just user created as opposed to
Google.
correct. Yeah. Yes.
So we had a high school group of students in our driver ed class who
Yes.
used Tour Creator
Yep.
to create dangerous intersection VR tours in our community.
There you go. Real world example right there.
So they used a street view, put in the intersections where they had an altercation, and
So
then
that
in
would
that
be-
interest point pop-up, they had to describe how to safely navigate through that intersection. So it was driver ed in our community in real intersections where the kids are.
I had a 4th grade social studies teacher create a Google tour based on the landmarks during the American Revolution. So she went through, she was teaching about all of the parts of the American Revolution, and so she went to Independence Hall and all the different pieces. So there's applications here all over the place. And it's super simple. It's not hard. Type in what you want, click a couple buttons, and your kids, right, it's simple for them. And it's so impactful that they've created something and they can see.
They even pushed the bar higher and had the township supervisor come in and make corrections for the road. So they gave them recommendations on how to make the intersection safer. So
Wonderful, wonderful resources. Going back to Google Poly, quick moment. Not only can you have tours, search tours that people have already created, they also have 3D models of things. So this is actually, it's kind of hard to see, but that's a 3D model of the Pittsburgh skyline. The light doesn't show it very well, but you can search 3D models, and also you can search it based on whatever topic or theme you want on the side as well. Oh, I linked to Point State Park. I think it's a great place to be able to create your own Google tour with Fort Duquesne and Fort Pitt. And if you don't come to Pittsburgh and you don't go to Point State Park or go to Mount Washington to see the view, then you haven't really been to Pittsburgh. Thought I'd throw that out. Or go to Permanis.
Right, that would be the first.
Go to Permanis in the Strip. Or go to the original one in Oakland by University of Pittsburgh. Speaking of the University of Pittsburgh, the Nationality Rooms. Anyone ever been to the Nationality Rooms, the Cathedral of Learning? So the Cathedral of Learning is a building on the University of Pittsburgh's campus that has 31 different nationality rooms. So they're rooms based on all of the different nationalities that have come to the city of Pittsburgh and have made a lasting impact on the city. 29 of those rooms are still being used as classrooms for Pitt students. So if you walk in, you can see that they're actually still teaching classes. 2 of them are just display rooms. This is an example of one of those classrooms. I don't know which culture that is, I'm sorry. But it's free to walk in. You can walk in and just literally walk around and see all the different rooms. Link that with Google Scholar. I assume everyone knows Google Scholar. Okay, searching, great tool for finding almost anything. The part that I really like about Google Scholar is right here, full text. So you can get the full resource. I also like the fact, did you know that you can search case law based on courts? So that was something that my older kids did in a social studies class when they were learning about the Supreme Court and the court system. They were able to find primary sources directly from Google Scholar. I think what I did is I just searched iPads, and that's what came up. Also, this part is really nice too. You can create your own library of resources, and again, just share that out with your kids if you want them to look at certain resources, certain law, whatever. Create it in my library, and then you can share that out with your kids. And that is the number of, I think I did that with case law, so those are the number of court cases based on those topics. So it'll break it down by topics and themes as well. I'm almost done. I gotta get to go to lunch soon. Google a Day. Everyone ever heard of Google a Day? love Google a day. And this also, this part that I really like are these tips and tricks. So remember when I talked about earlier about search for education, teaching kids how to better search. So this is another resource to do that, where you can use these little search tricks. So if you put in the word site before a website, it'll only search that site for that word that you want. If you put in plus, it'll search for that. You know all the tricks, I don't have to explain it to you. But the part that I really like here is that it fosters this curiosity. So it gives you a question of some kind, and then you have to search in Google to find the answer to that, which will lead you to a new question, and you have to keep working your way through. So it's a great test of how to use all of these Google tips and tricks, all of those search for education things that you could have taught your kids on how to search. Link that with Phipps Conservatory. Anyone ever been to Phipps Conservatory? Anyone ever been to the Discovery Garden? Love the Discovery Garden. That is geared just towards kids. Okay, so go in, ask questions, discover, hands-on, all that kind of stuff. And Google Trends. Google Trends, I link that to one of the last wooden street in the city of Pittsburgh. Do you know we still have wooden streets in the city? Interesting. But Google Trends. So when I did a quick search, these are the things that were trending at that time. This is when Le'Veon Bell was doing his thing. So it was a while ago when I took this picture, but so you can do it based on real-time trends. You can search only in the United States or all over the world. You can then do just each day. So if you want the full day's picture instead of what's going on at that moment. You can also come here and personalize it with your own. This is actually, I searched Pete and C just to see what came up. So this is the data for when Pete and C was first mentioned. And then this is the change, as you can see here. I believe this was the conference time, so that's why there's a big peak there. And then you can also break it down based on state and location. So if you see when I searched P&C, the places that most people were searching were from Pennsylvania and New York. So interesting fact. Great for real life data. Use that in any number of ways. Interesting fact too about Roslyn Street. Only the last wooden street, and the city doesn't take care of it anymore. In fact, the people that take care of it are the people that live on the street, and there's actually people that are assigned to have wooden blocks, and when one dislodges or is broken, that's their job to go in and fix it. So, interesting fact. Shade aside. Carnegie Mellon, everyone knows Carnegie Mellon. Link that with Google Books. Did you know Google has this huge catalog of full text books for you? So you can search. Now, I will tell you, it can be a bit limiting, but if you're looking for something in particular, you can search. If you want ebooks only, there's free, any book at all. If you want a certain type of media, if you want newspapers or magazines, books, whatever, you can search. And so I searched education. That's what came up, and then you have PDF that you can then download and use, or you can just flip on your browser page by page. Okay, full text directly there. Again, link that to CMU, books, college, everyone knows CMU. And Frick Park. Anyone ever been to Frick Park? Great. Frick Park is one of the beautiful parks in the city. I link that to Ngram Viewer. Ngram Viewer lets you look at when certain words or ideas were in books. So these are two different graphs. So the first one here, so Frankenstein, Albert Einstein, and Sherlock Holmes, those were there, so I borrowed the picture directly from their website. But this graph shows you when they were mentioned in different books. The part that you can edit here is you can change your timeline, you can change what language the words are from, or what type of book. But this is the one that I did, is I did a search here for kindergarten, nursery school, and Montessori. So you can just see over time how the things have changed. So right here, the 1920s, the 1930s, my assumption, just based on the data, that is when kindergarten started to make a big push into the schools so that everyone would be there. Linked it to Frick Park because Frick Park has Alphabet Trail and Tales every year, where you go on a tour of the park, and then every section has a different reading activity for you to do with your kids. Regent Square. And that's it. Thanks for coming. If you scan the QR code, this will take you to the Prezi. This is the tiny URL if you prefer that. Reach out on Twitter if you have any questions. That is my school email. Anyone have any questions for me?
I would add one.
Yes.
Expeditions.
Oh yes, I didn't include that one, but yes, Google Expeditions is another wonderful resource as well. So there's another one to add, Google Expeditions.
I use that one.
I like Google Expeditions.
So the Ngram, that's word mining. It's
Yes.
It's for
Yep.
digital humanities, and
Yep.
students are interested in
Search
that.
almost any, yes. Anyone have any questions?
Good job.
Thank you. Hopefully you learned something. Yeah, I try to get everyone out early so you guys can go eat.
First in line. You want to be first in line.
That's the
good.
goal.
Thank
Well,
you.
I try to do about 40 minutes, so I'm a minute too short, which is fine.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Jenna Baxter. I work at the Allegheny Intermediate.
Okay.
Well, Allegheny.
Hopefully you weren't too hard on my Pittsburgh landmarks.
No.
Okay. Yes.
I'm also Pittsburgh. Well, I grew up in Robinson. So
Okay.
Love the city. But my question is.
Yes.
I don't know how much you know about R&D. We have what's called a transform center. Transform. What we do. Everything has been funded through like the lines, payments, foundation.
Right.
Lots of stuff. Library, which is like materials like
Yeah.
inch like
Right.
But anyway, one of the things we do in Transform Ed, and I wish I had a calendar with me,
This
I didn't
is-
bring it, but I'll see if I can find it. One of my colleagues
I'm
who's
gonna
our
find
director of
it.
innovation runs, he recruits and reaches out and has classes running there continually.
Okay.
It's free, all day, professional development for teachers
Okay.
around the spectrum.
Okay.
But I'm a Google certified trainer, so most of what I do always relies on
Mhm.
Google, and I do a lot of Google certification classes.
Okay.
I came here because I've done like Google tools you may not know, and reading the description, I'm like, I want to see how you tie some of what I've used into the classroom. So my
Hopefully it was
question-
good.
It was awesome.
Okay. Yes.
So into the city. So
Okay.
I'm asking if I could modify your presentation to make a full day training out of it, giving you full credit, of course.
Yeah,
Would you have
whatever you
any
need to
issues
do.
with that? And of course, I would say based on, presentation software by Mike Bertoni, is that right?
Yep.
And I would give them a copy of your original presentation, so everything
That'd be
would come
great.
back is, and also if you're interested, I can give you my contact information if you, I don't know if you wanna come spend a day.
I would
with
love
those
to.
classes.
I would love to. Yes.
But I could tell you how to get in touch with Tyler, saying you'd be interested in teaching, and if that's something you wanna do, then I don't wanna steal anything from you.
No,
But with-
if that's an option, that'd be great.
Cause I do, like I said, the Google tools you may not know, I've been learning that, and which is a lot of what you do, but we actually spend time with them, so.
Right. Mine was
when
a quick-
I did Tour Builder, they
yeah,
actually
made
created.
their own.
Well, I did Tour Builder instead of, is that the
Same thing. Yeah.
Same thing, right?
I think it's
So-
just rebranded.
So I did like, and I also do like a GeoTools thing. So it's a half day of tools you may not know and a half day of GeoTools. So GeoTools cover maps, My Maps, Tour Builder, Google Earth. So how do you progress? So maps, you just get directions. My Maps, you can actually point. Google Tour, you put images in, put text
Yep,
in, and
build
then
your-
all the way to
yep.
go. So how can you go from one and progress, right? And then, and I do it around literature. So
Okay.
the novel,
Yeah. So yeah.
where are you traveling to? Where's the main characters traveling to?
And
Let's build that.
there's some. I left a bunch out, but there's so many more resources.
Right,
But
and
yes.
we've done like, French, I like the war that went from like Fort Necessity to Fort Duquesne to Fort,
Right.
to Wattsburg, like all
Yeah.
that. So we do a lot of that, French and Indian War. Why am I drawing a blank on war? But so anyway, and we talk about, so 151 miles, it looks like you're going right up 79. Not so bad, right? But imagine doing that on foot, the whole difference, and no 79. Like
Yeah.
through-
No interstate.
So, but
I would-
I
yeah,
would
I
like
would love-
to take yours and kind
Yeah,
of embed
and-
on what I do.
That'd be
and
great.
make it full day.
Yeah, so just send
But-
me, if you just send me an email, send to that email what you want to do or who I need to contact, and then I can take care of the rest. Tomorrow I'm actually doing another Google presentation on Google extensions.
What time?
2 something, I don't remember, I'll have to go look. Why is my
That's
computer
fine, I
dead?
can find it, I just wondered, cause I present at 4:45
No,
tomorrow.
it's not then. I think it's the time right before it. So I have 34 Google extensions and how you can use them in your classroom.
Yeah, I do a lot with that too, so I will,
Yeah, send me an
I mean,
email.
I'd love to embed on mine, but if it's something you're interested in,
Hey,
I
I would
wouldn't
love
take
to
that
present
from you.
my, like I said, I part-time, I teach technology K to 6, but I'm also working with all the teachers and presenting and all that other stuff too. So yeah, just send me an email and we'll figure something out.
Thanks,
Okay,
Mike.
thank
Nice meeting
you. Hello.
Hi, Jeremy Rossman. Nice to meet you. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's just, actually, I wanted to know if you knew my aunt. She works for Clarion Limestone, Ken Deserby.
Yeah, she's at the high school, but yes,
She's in
I
high
do
school.
know, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout
Small
out.
world, right?
Yeah, it is small world.
But yes, I
It
do
was
know.
good job.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you for coming.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi, Ryan Keller, paid at 6 Technology at Mount Pleasant. So
Okay.
I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you very much.
So we're about an hour and a half from here, but
Mhm.
we actually brought our kids down to do the Macaroni Boy tour of the Strip District. So did you ever get a chance to
I
do that?
haven't.
That is something where
Okay.
you need to read the book first, obviously.
Right.
But there's a person, I think she said, she came to our school and talked to our 5th grade. I taught
Cool.
5th grade the last 7 years. It's my first year jumping back into
Tech.
technology, so.
I'll have to add, let me
Completely
make it, let me
overwhelmed.
make a note of that.
Yes, but the lady actually came and spoke at our school.
awesome.
All the 5th grade in their reading class read the Macaroni Boy, and then we come down and did the tour. And
Wow.
it is well worth.
I've never heard of that. I mean, I've read the book, but I didn't know that they did a tour.
There's a tour. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
want to say it's through the Historical Society, maybe. So I wasn't in charge of it. I was the math teacher. So social studies science took care of the trip. I just had to go. But yeah, no, we did it probably 4 years in a row, maybe 5 years. Something like
Bring that back to
Yes.
the teachers.
Yes, it was definitely worth taking the time. Just coming that far, it's tough for us.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, that's quite a
So-
drive. So,
Yes.
so thank you for coming.
Hey,
hopefully
thank
you learned something new.
I did. I don't think I've ever used a single one of those websites you mentioned, and I mean that seriously.
No, I don't mean to say that like.
I know.
But I get very excited because when I put the presentation together, I'm like, oh, have they seen this?
No.
Is this redundant? Like,
because you use Google, you use Gmail, you use Maps.
you don't go everywhere else.
No.
Okay.
And that's what I said. There's.
Well, good.
I seriously, I sat there and I took notes and I'm like, okay, I need to show the music teacher this one. The art teacher needs this.
Yes.
Health teacher needs
Yes.
this one. So you know, it don't apply
Well,
to
come
me.
tomorrow. Come
Mark
tomorrow.
Daniels.
If you want some stuff for your other teachers,
Yeah.
I am. Give me one sec. I am doing that Google Extensions one. Have you ever taught your teachers to use Google Extensions? Oh my. Google Extensions are just amazing to be able to save clicks and time. So if you come tomorrow, I have 34 of them. You're awesome. Thank you. Is there anyone else using the Surface?
I haven't seen one yet, no.
Is there a way that I can keep it for my presentation tomorrow, or do you need it back?
We have to bring it back in the night, but, are you back in this afternoon?
No, just tomorrow afternoon.
Do you know which room? Because we can, I can make sure that we'll have that.
I will be in 3:35
Okay.
tomorrow at 2:15.
I'll let the guys start now.
Thank you very
So
much.
that's your presentation.
That's my presentation tomorrow.
2:15.
Yep. So, but this is what I'll be presenting on. Can I hold it for
Sure.
1 sec? Thank you. So this is what I'll present on. And each of these little pictures will zoom in and talk about how your teachers can use it in their class and save a whole bunch of time. Everything from share a classroom. Your teachers use Google Classroom to organize stuff. Okay. Do you have you probably have students that have issues with mouse control. So there's an app here called Magic Scroll that turns everything into a PDF. So when they look at a website, instead of having to scroll up and down, all they have to do is click to go page by page. This reads text for you. This is a summarizing tool. This shares things to your class. This is just removing all distractions on a web page except for the text. So this is all of your Google resources right here. You just a pull down menu, and then all of your stuff is right here, as opposed to having to open a brand new tab. So Yes, people are gonna come.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I am petrified when I present at conferences
I
like
would
this.
believe that.
Like, I'm petrified that no one shows up. Like, I'm gonna present to like 2 people.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I just texted him.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate
the
that.
2 guys over there, one has kind of longish blonde hair.
And he had an apple hat on today.
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I speak at our church when the pastor's away, and I just always assume that like they're gonna find out that excellent Google extensions 335.
There it is.
Okay.
Wait, which one?
335, right?
No, mine is it's called Excellent. Which one is which one?
Excellent